Tonight, the man who stopped the killer inside Club Q in Colorado Springs.
I told him I was in him. I want to kill you, guy.
And we learn more about the suspect's violent past, why he was already known to police.
I called the police and let them know he was here.
While the investigation ramps up, loved ones remember those lost.
He would jump across the stage and he could slide on his knees.
And the community tries to heal.
And I hope this incident, unfortunate as it is, bring us together.
Here's a look tonight at the growing memorial outside Club Q in Colorado Springs. A constant flow of people paying their respects and trying to make sense of what happened Saturday night. One of the club's owners talked with the grieving crowd.
There will be times to discuss the politics of this, but tonight and in the coming days, this is about the victims. This is about the 5 individuals that lost their life in the building behind you.
And that's where our reporting on the shooting begins tonight with those victims. Also, the heroic ex-soldier who stopped that shooter before he could cause even more pain. Their families shared pictures of the 5 people who died. Daniel Aston, Raymond Green Vance, Kelly Loving, Ashley Paugh, and Derek Rump. Another 17 people were wounded by the gunfire. We're also learning more about the suspect, 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich. He was arrested last year, but not charged after allegedly threatening his mother with bombs and guns. The DA saying today he expects Aldrich to have his first court appearance via video from jail in the next few days. He remains hospitalized because of the beating at the hands of the man who stopped him, along with another customer. We're following all aspects of this tragic story tonight. Tori Mason had a vigil for the victims in Denver this evening. Karen Morfitt in the very latest on the investigation. Want to start, though, with Alan Janae. Alan, you talked to that man who took down the gunman. He doesn't want to be called a hero, but a lot of folks say he absolutely is.
Well, many are. You know, here at this memorial tonight, Jim, there is a recognition that this could have been far worse, but for what Richard Fierro and another man did. Fierro is a veteran of the U.S. Army, a former major who did 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. He recognized what was happening, got up, started fighting, and didn't stop fighting. Richard Fierro came out of his house with his wife and daughter nursing injuries, but home.
I'm not a hero. I'm just some dude.
Their family has done things with the LGBTQ community before.
We do the parade because we love our community. Doesn't matter LGBT, doesn't matter straight. I'm straight. My kids are straight, but we go there.
It was a good night at the club until the shooting, and people like bartender Michael Anderson feared what was happening.
I thought that I was about to die. Like, there was, in my view, there was no one to stop him from where he was to where we were. It was just a matter of time.
Fierro and another patron, Thomas James, subdued the gunman.
I grabbed him by the back of his little cheap-ass armor thing, and I pulled him down. The young man that was late, he was hiding there, had jumped up with me. I don't know if he helped pull him down or not. I have no idea.
Fierro using the suspect's gun against him.
I just kept wailing on him, and I told the kid in front of me, kick him in his head, keep kicking him in his head. One of the performers walked by, or was running by, and I told her, kick this guy, and she took her high heel and stuffed it in his face.
It gave people time to escape as they fought.
I don't know who it is, but they saved my life.
I gotta kill this guy. He's gonna kill my kid. He's gonna kill my wife. He ended up killing my daughter's boyfriend.
Raymond Green Vance, the family, is mourning, along with the rest of the 5 killed.
I wish I could have done more, okay? But those people aren't home tonight. I am.
Thomas James has not come forward publicly yet, but Mayor John Suthers today said that what Fierro had done probably saved a lot of lives. And rarely, he said, had he talked with anyone so humble. Fierro compared to what happened like war, he said, and that everybody who was inside Club Q is going to have to deal with that now. In Colorado Springs, I'm Alan Janae, covering Colorado First.
He's quite a guy. Alan, thank you. Many are sharing tributes and memories of the 5 victims lost. 2 of the victims, Derek Rump and Daniel Aston, were co-workers at Club Q. Daniel started working there within the past 2 years when he moved to Colorado. His mother says her son loved what he did there, entertaining. Daniel was known to light up a room.
He would get crazy wigs and outfits, and He would jump across the stage, and he could slide on his knees, and he was quite entertaining. You know, everybody started hooping and hollering, you know.
Former Club Q employee Greg Resha knew both Daniel and Derek. He tells us Derek was a major fixture at the club that was a refuge for the LGBTQ community. Resha says Derek felt home there as a customer, later became a bartender.
He was the heart of the place. You would walk in and you would expect to see him. You would expect a big hug from him or a sarcastic remark.
The three other victims who lost their lives at Club Q were customers. Kelly Loving's sister, remembering her as a good person, loving and caring and sweet. A friend of Kelly says she spoke to her just minutes before she went to the club Saturday night.
I want her, rest in peace, to know that I will fight for her. I want justice for her because she didn't deserve that.
Ashley Paw, being remembered tonight by her husband and high school sweetheart, is a loving wife and amazing mother. He says she had a huge heart and spent her days helping find homes for foster kids through her work with the nonprofit Kids Crossing. As Alan reported, Raymond Green Vance was at Club Q with his girlfriend and her family. Raymond's family says the 22-year-old was a kind, selfless young adult with his entire life ahead of him. His closest friends describe him as a gift, one of a kind, and willing to go out of his way to help anyone. The senseless violence leaves a community with many questions tonight. Police did provide an update on their investigation this afternoon and addressed questions about the suspect's run-in with the law last year. Specifically, should Colorado's red flag law have come into play to get his weapons? Karen Morfitt in the Springs tonight. Karen, a lot of questions about whether an extreme risk protection order was filed or should have been filed.
Right, Jim, and that law was put into place to prevent individuals who are a risk to themselves or the public from accessing guns. And while public officials today pushed back on some of those questions, saying that it's just far too early in this case to know whether it would have made a difference, the community is looking for answers. While the Colorado Springs community mourns the loss of 5 lives, they're also asking why.
We know that there is hatred in this community.
Others with questions about how that stem from the past interactions that the suspect, Anderson Aldrich, had with local law enforcement. That case dismissed, and any record of it has since been sealed.
That statute requires us to say in response to questions about it that no such record exists.
That previous incident, though, was live-streamed by Aldrich and shows him with what appeared to be a gun and wearing body armor.
This is your boy.
Fueling concerns about if Colorado's red flag law was used to prevent any future access to guns. While Colorado Springs Mayor John Suthers supports the use of the law, he thought questions about its use were premature.
I would caution against an assumption that the circumstance of this case would lead to application of the red flag law.
These were designed for situations in which there's a lot of risk.
Chris Konofsky is a professor at CU Anschutz and has been researching Colorado's use of the law since it was enacted.
They're a tool for law enforcement or others in cases where a law hasn't necessarily been broken, but there is still concern about the level of risk presented by the individual.
Whether it was or could have been used for Aldrich remains unclear for now. Whether it could have saved lives, the community may never know. Now, in that press conference earlier today, investigators also not wanting to say how Aldrich did get the long rifle and the handgun that they say was used in the shooting here at Club Q. We also know tonight that Aldrich's mother, the suspect's mother, has also had encounters with law enforcement, specifically warrants for arson out of Texas, as well as a number of cases in California. Colorado Springs police say she has not been cooperative in their investigation into this shooting so far. We're live tonight in Colorado Springs. Karen Morfitt covering Colorado First.
Still so many questions to be answered. Karen, thanks so much. Denver City and County building is lit up in rainbow colors tonight, sending support to the folks in Colorado Springs. Denver is known throughout the country as a very welcoming city for the LGBTQ community. Our Tori Mason at a gathering tonight that was put on by Trax Nightclub. And Tori, the event included words from the governor.
It did. Several local officials, even the mayor, spoke a little bit. And they gathered in that same spot right after the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando. And no one in that room could have ever imagined being there after an attack in our state. Hundreds and hundreds of people were there. And they never want to be there again.
This happened in my Colorado, not some far off place.
We hold our community to a higher standard, but in recent years, hate has infiltrated our schools, our grocery stores, and now Club Q.
I had somebody tell me the other day, isn't everything more progressive? I thought people were more accepting of the LGBTQ community, and I had to explain to them no.
Hundreds of allies filled tracks to say this violence will not define Colorado, but rather how we respond.
This attack leaves us with heavy hearts.
A safe space is gone. With umbrellas, Pasha Ripley sets out to create them on her own, shielding queer youth from protesters around the state.
We're sad, we're mad, we're frustrated, we're overwhelmed, but most of us really aren't shocked.
It's a community this room doesn't hesitate to support, but they worry, how soon will they gather to grieve again?
I'm praying that I will never see any of you at another event like this again.
Now, I actually spent a lot of time talking to a friend of one of the victims, Derek, and he told me that he played a crucial part of this person's transition journey. That's the kind of people that gunman took from us. We're live in Denver. Tori Mason covering Colorado First.
Thanks, Tori. And it's certainly a sad fact that many Coloradans know far too well the emotional impact of mass shootings. And in the wake of the Club Q tragedy, many people, especially those in the LGBTQ community, are struggling with feelings of grief, anger, and fear. The nonprofit group Out Boulder County is offering support to people who are struggling. Their mission is to help the LGBTQ community in Boulder County and beyond get the resources they need. But Executive Director Marty Moore tells us we can all step up to help in times like these.
If you're sitting at home right now and you haven't checked in with one of your LGBTQ friends, it's actually past time, so you should pick up the phone right now or drop that text or email.
And she says one of the best ways we can all help that community is to help stop the use and spread of all the hateful rhetoric we hear these days. There are many resources available to Coloradans all over the state in the wake of the shooting. You can reach Colorado Crisis Services at the number on your screen, 844-493-TALK, or text TALK to 38255 for free immediate support. There's also the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, offering 24/7 call, text, and chat access to trained crisis counselors. And down in the Springs, Club Q says a drop-in center is now set up at the Satellite Hotel there. Counseling services available all week long through nonprofits GLAD and One Colorado. You can always find more information about these ongoing resources at cbscolorado.com. Other news coming up tonight, the state providing an update on the growing spread of RSV, the big impact on hospitals as so many kids continue to get sick.
And our satellite radar is quiet, and it should stay that way this week. Maybe a little snow in parts of Colorado before Thanksgiving. We'll break down that Thanksgiving forecast and travel forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All hail Cale. Cale Makar making NHL history tonight. We'll tell you what he did, and Melvin Gordon's time in orange and blue has come to an end. Why this is a tough loss for the players, even if it's the right move for the team.
We are covering Colorado First tonight as the rest of the country is sending support our way. For the past 2 days in Orlando, Florida, people have gathered on the site of the memorial to the victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. A gunman killed 49 people there 6 years ago. Orlando's One Pulse Foundation called the attack on Club Q another senseless act of violence against the LGBTQ plus community. When Central Florida's gay community is hurting, this is where they come.
This is where we should be. You know, this is where we gather, this is where we support each other, and this is where we can come to show our support to Colorado.
They did what they could from 1,500 miles away, singing in solidarity, and also signing a banner to send to the community of Colorado Springs. Governor Polis ordered flags lowered to half staff on all public buildings until sunset November 26th. That will mark 5 days for the 5 people killed in the shooting. The pride flag will be flown at the Colorado State Capitol for the next 5 days. The state health department sharing new details today on the spread of RSV. So far, there have been outbreaks in 255 schools and child care facilities. facilities. From October 1st to November 12th, 895 people have been hospitalized with RSV. There have been 164 hospitalizations in our state due to the flu. Of those, 836 people hospitalized are kids, 59 are adults. RSV can be very serious, especially for young children and newborns. The health department also shared more on how much that is impacting the hospitals right now.
What we're seeing with RSV is the vast majority of those hospitalizations are occurring in our pediatric population.
RSV can cause mild symptoms similar to the common cold. They include a runny nose, coughing, sneezing, fever, and wheezing. Time now to check in with First Alert meteorologist Lauren Whitney. And Lauren, looks like a pretty nice week shaping up.
Overall, it's going to be a pretty great week for us. What we're watching in the First Alert Weather Center, warm temperatures through Wednesday, really looking pretty good for travel for Thanksgiving, whether you're flying or whether you're driving, at least if you're flying out of DIA. And we have cooler temperatures on the way for Thanksgiving. So let's start off with our temperatures right now. We're right at freezing here in Denver, 25 in Greeley, lots of 20s out on the Eastern Plains, 13 though in Lyman. High country, lots of teens out there, a couple 20s, and then teens in the 20s off to the west. We have 27 from our weather watcher, Denny Mays, who lives in Rifle on the western slope for us this late evening. And checking in with our temperatures tonight, 23 in Denver. So we are going to cool off. Tomorrow morning will be a little bit chilly out there, 23 in Boulder. Lots of teens out on the Eastern Plains, high country, mostly in the single digits. And then we have the teens to the single digits off to the west. And our out-the-door forecast in the morning, it will be a little chilly out there tomorrow morning, but we do warm up fairly quickly. 29 at 7 a.m., low 30s, still below freezing by 8. And then we jump up to about 50, close to that by lunchtime. So still a lot more melting out there. Maybe a good time to kind of chip away at some of those icy spots as they soften up just a little bit. I still have a sheet of ice in parts of my backyard. And taking a look at our satellite and radar, we do have a little bit of cloud cover out there this evening. And our future cast, not a ton of activity out there. By tomorrow morning, we wake up to sunshine and we'll see a few more passing clouds out there. So Tuesday, if you have to hit the road for Thanksgiving, really should be a great time to drive. Still maybe a couple icy areas out there, but overall, not too bad. Now, Wednesday, we start to see the little bit of chance for some snow, mainly in the high country. Now, for Denver, there is a chance maybe the south side of town, near the Palmer Divide, Monument area, gets a little bit of snow into Thursday morning. But we could see some heavier snowfall in some of our southern mountains and a few scattered showers or snow showers up to the north. We're not looking at a ton of accumulation, maybe a couple of inches. But if you're leaving late on Wednesday or into Thursday morning for your holiday travels and going into the high country, there may be a few travel tie-ups that way. You just have to watch out for some slick roads. 50s tomorrow for the Front Range and Eastern Plains, 40s as you head into the high country. 51 on Wednesday. It will be windy out there ahead of that quick little system. And then on Thanksgiving, maybe a few flurries around the Denver area, mainly on the south side of town. And we're looking at a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of breeze out there, but it should still be a pretty nice day. Temperatures will be in the mid-40s. And then heading into Friday, 59 degrees, and we're warm this weekend. Plenty of sunshine out there. Thursday is kind of the only dip in the radar out there, Jim. But, of course, you have all that food to keep you nice and
We'll be eating and cleaning. All right. Thanks so much. Romy's up next with sports.